is going on, y'all? It's your boy VeLL, and we are back with another Mobile Legends video here, man. And we have some interesting stuff to talk about today. So I made a top 5 video talking about the best fighters in Mobile Legends, and a lot of people were surprised because they didn't see Masha on that list. So I'm going to be breaking down Masha for you all and helping you kind of understand why Masha was not added on my best heroes list, especially fighter heroes list in Mobile Legends. So yeah, make sure you all drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. This is meant to be a discussion, but I do just want to share with you all my point of view and my perspective on how I feel about Masha in the meta and how I feel, how I feel in general. So basically, here we go. So jumping straight into it, look, this is Masha. This is Masha, and this is Impunity versus Evos SG. Look at Masha's team comp. So you see this team comp? Let's go to another game. Now look at Masha's team comp again. So do you see this team comp? We're just gonna keep going to a few. Here's another game. Masha, look at Masha's team comp here. I want you to keep noticing the team comp. Here's another game. Masha's on the left side this time. Look at her team comp. And then one more game. Like I didn't go, like, these are literally all the games I could find in like 3 minutes. Like I didn't go and do too much research to find these games. And yeah. So now let's go back to the first gameplay. So I only have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 gameplays here. These was like, and these were honestly 5 of the first gameplays that I clicked on that included Masha. So let me explain this to you all. Let's just have basically what I'm trying to say is that Masha is a very, very team dependent hero, because what you're essentially doing, like, it's the reason that Zylong has not been meta for so long. It's the reason that Zylong wasn't really picked. And it's the same problem. It's that same problem. It's like when you have a hero who is designed to split push and take objectives very, very fast, you have to have teammates who can literally hold off the enemy team by themselves. So your teammates are going to be putting themselves in a 4v5 situation for long periods of the time, which means you have to have a team sustainable and a team that can still deal damage. So even if you have 4 heroes, your 4 heroes still need to actually have a chance of being able to win a team fight while Masha is off split pushing, because Masha is not going to be super effective in team fights. So let's take a look at some of the gameplays with Masha in them. One more thing that you'll notice. So here's a team fight in this gameplay taking place right now. Look at the position of all the teammates. They're all in this little area right here getting ready to all basically siege, and then you have Masha top lane by herself. And this is what Masha's supposed to do. So this is basically going to turn into a 4v5 situation, and they're fighting for Turtle, and Masha's nowhere to be found. This situation, once again, we're seeing a situation where fights are happening and Masha is not there. Now, you might not know why this is a big deal. Now, this is a situation where Masha was actually in that fight, and I'll show you all the results of actually Masha being in that fight, and how she brings very little value to a fight compared to the other heroes that was on the list. This one right here, Masha all the way up here while fights going on down here. Like this is the thing. It's very rare that you actually see Masha taking place in fights, and the reason is Masha brings very little value in a fight compared to like a Leomore. Leomore can literally damage and keep hitting and destroying the whole team, and if anybody gets low, anybody gets left below like 30%, it's like wraps for them. But when it comes down to Masha, she can target one person. She has to be super close to that person, and you better hope that there's no ranged enemies on the hero team attacking her. So yeah, let's actually look at some of the gameplays where she's in it. Let's turn that down. All right, so look at this. So Hylos had to get out of there. Masha's still just here. And I mean, don't get it. This is very good Masha gameplay. This is like, Masha's not doing a bad job right here. Like, Masha is supposed to be pushing up lanes and stuff like that. She's supposed to be putting pressure on the enemies from there. But what you have to understand, when you're playing outside of a full pro team, like when you're playing in a different setting, it's not always about basically it's not always about the split push or you being a good split pusher or you being really good with Masha, your mechanics and stuff like that. It's about the simple fact that your teammates, when you're playing solo or when you're playing trio, yeah, even trio, like you have to roam around and support your team. You have to roam around, you have to be helping in fights. A lot of times you don't have all day to be split pushing, and even if you do split push, you should have a rival so you can get to that fight. Now if Masha uses a rival and jumps into a fight, I mean, it's like, who really cares? But then you have a Leomord, a rival, and push into a fight. Then what? Like, oh, he can actually ult the whole team. Then you have Thomas get to the fight. Then you have Xborg get to the fight. Like, these are huge game-changing heroes. Even Guinevere can literally jump on a whole group of them in the fight. So when we come down to the best fighters in Mobile Legends, it's the value that they bring to fights and the value that they bring on the split push. It's equal. I think Masha is really good at taking things, but it only really works at pro level. And this is something that most people need to learn. When you're trying to choose your heroes and you're trying to select the best heroes for a game, stop watching pro players for that. Stop trying to learn and follow what pro players do, because it's only going to make you trash at Mobile Legends. And that's honestly the nicest way I can say it. What makes a player good is being able to adapt to the situation that they're in. That's really what makes a pro player good. That's what makes a really good player, is being able to adapt to the situation that you're in. So if you're like, for instance, I don't really care for banning tanks and stuff, like especially as serious bans. Like, I'll ban them if there's just no one else to ban and I'd rather not go against them. But it's not really a threat banning tanks for me, because I know in North America there are very few good tank players. The only heroes North Americans are good at is mechanical heroes that kill a lot. So we have good Fanny players, we have good Gaijin players and stuff like that. So banning all the heroes, all the fast-paced heroes and stuff like that, that's hard to actually counter, those are the type of bans that I go for most of the time, because I know that there's no point in banning a tank, there's no point in banning a fighter, because I mean, people usually suck at tanks. So it's like people most of the time don't even want a tank. They just end up choosing the one tank they know how to play, which is usually somebody who's not meta or useful at all, like Franco, and they can't land hooks. And it's like, I mean, Franks are just not, I mean, I said Franks. Tanks are just not a big threat in North America. So you have to adapt to the situation you're in. You have to adapt to who you're playing against. You have to adapt to the setting. You can't just say, oh, pro players are using Masha, so Masha's good now. No, like that's what makes a lot of people not so good players, because they see a pro do something, then they're like, oh, let me do it. Like, everybody I've seen using Jawhead lately has got destroyed by me. Like, because one pro team can use Jawhead good because it works with their strategy. Some random person trying to use Jawhead, it's not going to be able to do the same thing, and you're not going to have a team to support what you're doing. So, for instance, when you're picking Masha, you're going around and attacking different turrets and stuff. You're leaving your team in a 4v5 situation. It's a bunch of randoms. Chances are they cannot sustain themselves in that 4v5 situation. They need 5 people, because randoms are not as good as pro players. It takes a lot of skill for 4 people to be able to take on 5 people. And that's what pro teams essentially do when they have Masha. Let's look at a few more examples. I want to show you all some examples before I end the video here. But look at this fight right here. Notice how the red team is still dominated. Notice how the red team is dominating. They have a bunch of heroes that allows for early game success, and it doesn't really matter if Masha is in the team fight at all. It's like they have hero, like you got the pushback. And that's one thing that you'll notice. Like, look at this. Look at the heroes they have. So you have Changa, who can zone people out, and you have Bruno, who hits like crazy. You have Valir, who pushes people back, and Valir is a common person that you see when you see this. So just so he pushes people back so they can't get too close. Then you have Hylos. So you got Valir again because he has that pushback. Then you got this tank, Kufra. And like, look at the team comp. And Gaijin, of course, is the one going off. So it's like these team comps that they're using, 4 people can easily kill the enemy team. Look at this one again. Do you really think that they need Masha in a team fight? No. They have a very sustainable tank. They have Lilia, who you don't want to get close to that, or you're going to just walk into a bunch of landmines. They have Zaz, you don't really want to get close to him. Then they have Lolita, she can stun the whole team. Like, they literally do not need Masha to be close. And look at what happens when Masha is close. So let's check this out. They get one person low. Look, he's one shot right now. Masha flickers in. And look how quick Masha's melted. Just for one kill. And don't get it twisted. That was a mistake chasing that kill anyway. And then the whole tides of the game is changed at this point, because then the whole team gets wiped. And that was a bad engagement from Masha. So like, Masha would have been better off split pushing something, like down here pushing that or something, like, instead, more so than being there just to get one kill on Chow and dying for it, because that just wasn't really worth it. So this team comp doesn't even really need Masha there as well. Let's go to this one. This one, she's over here. Look at this. Early game Kimmy. You got Chow, who's very sustainable and can do a little bit of damage depending on how you built them. Lolita. As you can see, these early game comps and these comps that really don't need Masha to be in the team fights. And then here's the last one here. When you have these two tanks, this tank deals a decent amount of damage, like especially in an area. Then Hellcurt, who makes the map dark. Then a good Harith. And then this tank just coming in jumping on everybody. With this type of combination, Masha does not need to be in these fights either. So hopefully you can really understand where I'm coming from. Hopefully it's not too confusing. This is why I don't think Masha should be used, especially when you're playing solos, trios, or when you're not playing in a 5-man, probably pro setting, to be honest. Like, if you're playing in a 5-man setting, it makes sense if you all actually practice and strategize to how to properly use Masha. But just trying to pick Masha and hoping your teammates can work with you well enough to actually make a Masha pick work, it's very, very rare and very unlikely. So hopefully you found this video helpful, man. That's pretty much all I got for you. I just wanted to talk about Masha and some things that people might not have noticed or might not know. But yeah, you have to have a certain type of team comp. Your team has to play a certain way for a Masha pick to be good. And this is why Masha should not be just picked by random people at random times, because you're going to make your team lose most of the time. You're basically saying, I'm going to pick Masha, I'm going to split push. No matter what 4 heroes you have, you better be able to take on a 4v5, because if you get in a team fight, you're screwed, because I can't help. That's basically what you're saying. So yeah, let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Drop that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, fam. Peace out, yo.
I don't know nobody, so don't ask for no favors. Don't ask for no paper, they leave when you losing. But they coming back later, promise they coming back later. I'm up now.